It's ludicrous. Anyway, what's going on? Thank you all so much for tuning in to this live stream episode of For the People podcast. And if you are here, that is because you are anti-algorithm, and I welcome you to the clan. If you are not anti-algorithm, but you have found yourself here, hopefully by the end of this live stream, you will be anti-algorithm. What do I mean by that? It means that we don't formulate our opinions. We don't manipulate facts. We are not, our ideology is not malleable based off of how you get the most clicks, how you or stay within a respective ideological clique, like a Republican Party or the Democratic Party or whatever. Like, we don't do that here. We just keep it a band. We keep it real. We talk about what needs to be talked about. We have comfortable conversations that people don't want to have, and we respect each other's differences in opinion, but hopefully, more importantly, we learn from each other. So I appreciate you all stopping in. If you want to become a contributor to the show, that would help a lot. You can do it one of several ways. All the links are in the description. You can become a premium member on Rockfin, which, of course, if you do that, you can not only get my premium content, you will also be able to get the premium content of everyone who contributes on Rockfin. I know everybody loves Rumble now. That's like the cool place to go. But I'm still partial to Rockfin. I love the interface for Rockfin still. Like, I love the people at Rockfin. I feel like it's less echo chambery at Rockfin. I like Rockfin better. I'm learning to like Rumble. I'm on Rumble as well. You can look up my name, Niko House. But if you want to support me, the best way to do it is to become a premium subscriber at Rockfin, which is, the link is in the description. You can also support me on Patreon. You can go to my Patreon link in the description. You can also, if you have Cash App, you can send money on Cash App if you want to do one time. I also have my Bitcoin address if you want to do it through Bitcoin. I have my Bitcoin address there as well. I know a lot of y'all into the Bitcoin stuff. I'm into the crypto life too, man. So don't do that, infrared. Don't do that. Talking about you a premium member on my OnlyFans. I ain't got no OnlyFans, not yet. I don't have OnlyFans yet, but the way this economy looking, might have to get it popping. You know what I'm saying? Might have to do what you got to do, dog. So I got several good stories for you guys today. We got to talk about the Canadian stuff. That Canada been going crazy the last couple of days. They just had a lot of crazy stories come out. Trudeau being Trudeau. We also want to talk about these new polls with Trump and Biden. It ain't looking good for the boy. We're going to talk about Hillary Clinton's latest comments. I don't know why she's just been coming out of nowhere again. And did y'all know she had four seasons of a podcast? She's on season 4 of a podcast that I don't think anyone knew existed until she made that tweet about the 3 other seasons. That's great. Macron finally announces that French troops will be pulling out of Niger. Rumble could be shut down in the UK. And Pelosi calls the impeachment of fake distraction. It's funny how many left talk shows ignore the Canada's Nazi knob slide. Really? That I'm genuinely curious. It's because maybe I don't watch those shows because it's torture. But I know I saw Combo Couch cover. I know I saw Jimmy, Russell Brand, Hard Lanes. I know Nick and CJ RBN covered it. I think Sabby covered it. But I'm assuming you mean like the Sam Cedars of the world. Emma Vigilant, we're going to see if we can find that tweet at some point during this stream. But Emma Vigilant says some suspect shit. She basically insinuated that, can you blame Ukrainians for supporting Nazis because it's better than supporting Russia? Something like that. It was bizarre. So But the first story we're going to get into, because it shouldn't take that long, is Macron pulling out of Niger. Yes, sir. I think that y'all can see this. There we go. Think we're good. Think y'all can see it. So, look at all those people cheering. This says France's decision to pull out 1,500 troops from Niger leaves a gaping hole in Western efforts to counter a decade of Islamist insurgency and could bolster Russian influence across the vast, insecure scrublands of West Africa, analysts and diplomats say. Niger was the West's last key ally in the Central Sahel region, south of the Sahara Desert. Good God, I can't read today. South of the Sahara Desert. It's actually that's like kind of difficult to say, but yeah, until July 26th, because the coup brought in military junta, which called for France to leave. Now, there's a little bit to unpack there. First of all, shout out to Niger. Shout out to Niger, because y'all did it, boy. Y'all did it. Y'all got them out. Got them up and out of there. And so y'all remember the coup. Let me get this out of here. Y'all remember the coup. And basically what took place was that Bazoum, the former president, was deposed by the coup. They let him live. The coup, the new leadership took over. They gave France a limit, right? They gave France a time where they need to leave. ECOWAS and France gave the coup a time where they need to reinstate Bazoum, but the coup had made it clear, like, hey, bro, it's not happening. We're not letting him go. So we're not putting him back in power. The reason why is because Bazoum, former president of Niger, was a French puppet. He was a neocolonialist puppet. Everything got worse under Bazoum, basically. And the uranium that was being mined in Niger that France principally relies on to literally do everything, like as far as energy is concerned, they weren't getting their fair share in Niger. The people weren't getting their fair share, and the majority of Nigerians didn't have power, despite almost a majority of France relying on their uranium for their power. You know, irony abounds. So fast forward, ECOWAS, which is the coalition of West African states that unfortunately has basically become a mouthpiece for the West, as you could probably imagine. They were threatening military intervention. France had been threatening military intervention. And Niger was like, we don't give a damn. You can threaten all you want to. We're not going nowhere. But what happened was I think three in total. So 3 countries that are part of ECOWAS, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, all said that if the West intervened in any way, if ECOWAS intervenes in any way in Niger, then all 3 of them were going to get involved. ECOWAS probably wasn't counting on that. And neither was France. Now, obviously, the United States condemned this coup because, well, they got money tied up in Niger with this Morocco-Nigeria pipeline. Basically, it's a pipeline from Nigeria to Morocco, but it has to go through Niger. It's a pretty big deal. That's a different conversation for a different day. But the United States obviously condemned it, but they didn't want to destroy all relations with Niger, because obviously France would probably be a lot more inclined to stay in Niger if they knew that they had the U.S.'s backing. But that's not happening. Victoria Nuland went to negotiate. They were like, we're not having it, sorry. And guess what Victoria Nuland did? She took her happy ass right back to the States and said, y'all got it. And after that meeting, the United States actually refused to label the situation in Niger as a coup. The United States did not label it a coup after that because they didn't want to sever any financial relationship with the new leadership. They didn't want to sever ties with, so they left France out to dry. It's tough life out there, tough life. So France had 1,500 troops. A couple of weeks ago, military leadership met with the new leadership of Niger. They had already agreed that France would remove their troops. I don't know what happened. Probably the fact that Niger decided to raise the price of its uranium significantly, as they should have. But something happened where Macron decided to come out and be like, nah, that's not happening. We're actually not removing anybody until you reinstate Bazoum as president, and only he can tell me when I can leave. Well, 2 weeks after that, he's leaving anyway. And this is significant. It's a big deal, bro. This is a big deal because, once again, Burkina Faso, they lost control of. Mali, they lost control of. Guinea, they lost control of. Niger, they lost control of. In Nigeria, a lot of people aren't paying attention, but at the moment, their president, y'all don't know about Nigeria's president, but that man is a character. This man is a drug lord from Chicago. This is not hyperbole, bro. He is a drug lord from Chicago that falsified. We don't even know if his name is, I want to say Mobutu, but it's not even really his name. Right now, he in the university he went to, I want to say it was Chicago State, went to. They're under investigation for falsifying his goddamn college degree, bro. So this man got his own situation going on in Nigeria, but he's a U.S. puppet and a French puppet. So if that doesn't go the way that the West expects it to, Nigeria might be lost to both France and the United States if he gets ousted. And it's looking likely, more and more likely every day, that he gets ousted. And he's currently the president of ECOWAS, which is that coalition I was telling you about of West African states. So obviously, if he is removed from president of Nigeria, he would also be removed as of chairman of ECOWAS, which leaves a huge power vacuum in Africa, in West Africa specifically, that will hopefully be filled by the people who are currently filling the power vacuums, which are Africans that are there for Africa. But with France out of Niger, that was basically the last state that was firmly in France's control. That last country that was firmly in France's control, that had an enormous amount of resources that France could pillage and plunder all it wanted to without being really challenged. And now that's it. And it is embarrassing for Macron because he was pumping up his damn chest, y'all, talking about what he was and wasn't going to do, how he was and wasn't going to move, who he was and wasn't going to, you know what I'm saying? Like doing what they do, what the neoliberals do, but it didn't work out. It did not work out as expected for him. Worked out for Africa though. So that's great news. Happy for Niger. Keep it up. Hoping that more, like, this has been a consistent pattern over the last several months, really over the last couple of years, where African countries are finally standing up to the neo-colonialists. And I hope that it continues, bro. I really do. Like, this is what needs to happen. I feel like Africa is having the same awakening. Obviously, it looks different, but America is having a similar awakening right now. Just Central and South America are even having their own awakening, but it looks different based off of the region. But everyone is starting to wake up to who the problem actually is. It isn't my neighbor. It isn't this random person online. It isn't the conservative who it isn't the left. It's y'all. It's y'all motherfuckers that are in power. Okay, got something for you. And then more importantly, like in the situation with Niger, they're actually standing together. When France said they were going to send troops to Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, and Guinea said, bitch, we wish you would, because we'll set it off in this hoe. And look what happened. So shout out to them. Next topic, bro. We gotta talk about this. Why they giving standing ovations to Nazis, y'all? I'm just trying to understand it. But we're gonna watch it. I'm genuinely surprised that they actually acknowledged that they gave a standing ovation to a Nazi. So I guess that's good. But we gotta pull this up. Got to. I think y'all should be
a dozen standing ovations. There was also one for this man, a 98-year-old Ukrainian Canadian who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russians during the Second World War. Zelensky's speech received at least a dozen standing ovations. There was also one for this man, a 98-year-old Ukrainian Canadian who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russians during the Second World War. Zelensky's speech received at least a dozen standing ovations. There was also one for this man, a 98-year-old Ukrainian Canadian who fought for Ukrainian independence against the Russians during the Second World War. Zelensky's speech received at least a dozen standing ovations.
So really quick, y'all can hear that, right? Y'all can hear that? I don't even know where to start with that shit. Boy, look at this man. Oh, they love me. They really love me. That boy about to cry. He said, who knew that less than 60, 70 years later, I wouldn't have to be hiding. Like instead, I'm getting cheered on. Wow. Like this man living his best life, bro. He living his best life because he found out that he is living in an alternative reality where Nazis are being cheered on by governments that don't belong to Hitler for once. Like, good for you, Nazi guy, I guess. The fuck? He looks so. I wonder if he was confused when they called him. What? How did that go? How did that conversation? Hey man, we want to celebrate you for your service during World War II. And he didn't think to be like, y'all sure? Like, y'all do know who I fought, right? Who I fought for. Well, we know who you fought against, sir. We know who you fought against. You said you fought against Russia, right? Yeah. And you are Ukrainian, correct? Yeah. Well, all the other stuff doesn't matter, man. We're pretty open-minded around here. How did that conversation go? And why didn't he warn them? Or better yet, did he warn them? Did he warn them and they just didn't care? That's probably more likely. Probably. But either way, the point still remains. Canada, the parliament in Canada, gave a standing ovation to a Nazi who is Ukrainian, right? Okay. A Nazi Ukrainian who fought against Russia in World War II. And it really makes you wonder if they actually like put two and two together, because I feel like there's a major clue there. Because for as diluted as U.S. history books are known to be, we at least knew, like, yeah, there was a non-aggression treaty between Russia and Germany. However, at the end of the day, Russia had to fight Germany. They fought the Nazis. We know that Germany stupidly sent a second front, sent troops to fight on a separate front, specifically to go after Russia. We know a lot of those Nazis settled in Ukraine, which is a different conversation. We know that Nazis fought Russians. We know that the only people who fought Russians during World War II were Nazis. This is not a difficult algebraic equation. It was not. And so I'm just like, that should have been the first clue. Now, I believe that they knew. I personally believe that they knew. I personally believe that they knew. They were hoping that no one else knew or cared. They thought that as long as they said he is Ukrainian and he fought against Russia and threw the words World War II veteran in there, then it would be all good. That's what I personally think happened. And then whenever people, like, and he did this the day before Yom Kippur. So like, whenever people responded, especially the Jewish community, were like, wow, bro, Nazi. He had to then pretend as if, oh, damn, oh man, our bad. We couldn't have possibly known this. Now, what's crazy is Justin Trudeau's response when he gets called out for this. Hold on, let me pull it up for y'all. Justin Trudeau gets on my damn nerves so bad. Like I said, I ain't working with what I normally got, so y'all gotta be patient with me. It's my computer loaded, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. All right. Yeah, we're going. This is crazy.
Extremely upsetting that this happened. The speaker has acknowledged his mistake and has apologized.
The speaker.
This is something that is deeply embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada and by extension to all Canadians. I think particularly of Jewish MPs and all members of the Jewish community across the country who are commemorating Yom Kippur today. I think it's going to be really important that all of us push back against Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation, and continue our steadfast and unequivocal support for Ukraine.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? First of all, we gonna break this down piece by piece, because the fuck.
Obviously, it's extremely upsetting that this happened. The speaker has acknowledged his mistake.
You are the president of Canada. You are the man in charge. Zelensky was coming to talk to the parliament, but really, he was coming to talk to you. Really. And what you got, your response is, hey, man, the speaker made a mistake, man. He acknowledged it. He said it's the speaker's fault. He took zero responsibility for that. Zero.
And has apologized. But this is something that is deeply embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada and by extension to all Canadians.
He said the speaker apologized and that this is embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada. What about you, bro? What about you? I'm just like, you're okay. I guess he throws himself in there by saying this is by extension embarrassing for all Canadians. Nah, that's like that's not really what we want to hear. Like, you're the president, like you're the guy. And you couldn't just at least accept responsibility here. Like, it's I can't say it's unbelievable. This is exactly what I expect from him. But like, it's the deflection, bro. It is the level. This is insane levels of deflection.
I think particularly of Jewish MPs and all members of the Jewish community across the country who are celebrating commemorating Yom Kippur today. I think it's going to be really important that all of us push back against Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation, and continue our steadfast and unequivocal support for Ukraine.
Question: who asked him about Russia? Who asked him about Russia? Who asked him about Ukraine? He says it's really important. He said some Yom Kippur, some. It's important to push back against Russia. What? You and the parliament stood up and y'all gave a standing ovation to a literal Nazi. That wasn't Russian disinformation. That had nothing to do with Russia. Putin did not show up in Harry Potter's cloak, hold a gun to the back of the speaker's head and be like, you better celebrate this Nazi, bro. That didn't happen. Russia did not put out any articles attempting to deceive the parliament, to deceive Canadians, or Justin Trudeau himself into believing that this World War II veteran isn't a Nazi. This has nothing to do with Russia. But you know who it does have something to do with? That motherfucker that y'all invited to Canada to give more money, Zelensky. Who's actually been putting out the disinformation about what's happening in Ukraine? Because what I now know, or what should be, I've already known it, but what should be apparent to people is that Ukraine does have a Nazi problem. Like, how is it that you, like, out of all the people that y'all celebrate, bro, y'all pick one, and, you know, obviously there might not be that many World War II veterans left, but like the one that's alive still, they say the wicked be living longer than anybody else. But the one you just happen to randomly pick, bro, is a Nazi, not neo-Nazi, not Nazi adjacent, or Nazi linked, as they were putting it in the news articles. bro was a Nazi. And when we tell y'all, yeah, because a bunch of Nazis settled in Ukraine and they never left. And the Nazis who settled in Ukraine were the Nazis who were originally fighting Russia. And y'all called us, every country has Nazis. Nah, fool, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is every country might have Nazis, but no other country has a history where 1/3 to at least half of the population is Nazi or Nazi associated. Yeah, every country has Nazis, but not every country has a Nazi battalion that is a part of the military. And what's even crazier is he boasts about giving all this money to Ukraine. Like the day before this happened, he boasts about giving money to Ukraine. In spite of him knowing this, they have a Nazi problem. Clearly, he just gave a standing ovation to one on accident. But Justin Trudeau just wants you all to know that it wasn't his fault and that the parliament, the speaker is sorry and the parliament is sorry. But he says that they accept full responsibility for their action. But what's crazy is, let me see if I can find this tweet for him. Yeah, put it right here. I tweeted about this because it pissed me off to know it. It says Trudeau tried to label the entire Freedom Convoy as a Nazi movement that needed to be shut down because of one random flag that was clearly a Fed plant. But having an entire Nazi battalion as part of its military didn't stop him from sending billions to Ukraine. As you can see here, Trudeau accuses conservative MPs of standing with people who wave swastikas. That's crazy. So they're standing with people who wave swastikas. And that, don't forget, like the majority of the people that were part of the Freedom Convoy, I don't know if y'all know, like the majority of them they actually got their jab. They were just against mandates. But whenever he couldn't use that, like he couldn't say that they weren't jabbed, most of them were, or half of them were. And they were making it clear it wasn't about that, it was about the mandate itself. He couldn't, that's not cut and dry enough. So what do? You label all of them as right-wing Nazis. And therefore, you allow GoFundMe, you give them the green light to say, oh, you can't fundraise for something that's promoting this horrible ideology. But somebody holding a flag or a couple of random people with masks on their face pretending to be Nazis was enough for him to condemn the entire Freedom Convoy. But having a whole Nazi battalion attached to your army isn't enough for you to not send billions? You know, a pastor, let me see if I can find this. There was a pastor that was sentenced to 60 days from the Freedom Convoy. This for being part of it. See if I can pull it up for y'all. Oops. There was a pastor that got sentenced 60 days because he spoke. He was doing doing what pastors do. I think y'all can see that. Yeah, you can see that. Cool. Good. Calgary pastor gets 60-day sentence for role in Couts border blockade. Judge gives credit for time served, thankfully. But yeah, this guy it was supposed to be more. So it says a Calgary pastor has been sentenced to 60 days in jail for his role in protests against COVID-19 public health measures that blocked Alberta's main Canada-U.S. border crossing for more than 2 weeks. You notice they don't want to call it the Freedom Convoy because they don't want people to find out that this type of stuff is happening. But a judge in Lethbridge gave Arthur Pawlowski 60 days credit for time already served. But the Crown wanted him to get, it says right here, that the Crown had sought a sentence of 8 to 10 months while defense lawyers were asking for time served. So effectively, Trudeau's government, Trudeau's Justice Department, prosecutors wanted 10 months for a pastor speaking. The fact that he served any time at all is wild. But this is the type of stuff that they were doing to people who were part of the Freedom Convoy. And then y'all get in front of them and start cheering for Nazis, bro, and giving billions to them and pretending as if you're doing something honorable. These people are disgusting. Disgusting. Trudeau is disgusting. And personally, I believe that they knew. Personally. Y'all want to throw up in your mouths real quick? Let's cover this Hillary Clinton story. Eventually it's going to come up, I promise. There we go. Y'all want to hear this? This is not, I'm just warning you, prepare your ears.
Your friend and mine.
Yes, indeed.
He has intervened in our election in the past.
Right.
It's not something, as you experienced firsthand, it's not something we talk about a lot. Do you fear that that is something that could be happening for 2024? And do you think we should be talking about it more?
Well, I think we should be talking about it more because I don't think, despite all of the, deniers, there's any doubt that he interfered in our election or that he has interfered in many ways in the internal affairs of other countries, funding political parties, funding, political candidates, buying off, government officials in different places. So that is his opus, his opus operandi in the sense that he hates democracy. He particularly.
Bruh. First of all, did this woman really start out the conversation by saying, no one talks about this. No one talks about this a lot. Y'all would not shut up about what y'all claimed Putin did in 2016 for not 1 year, not 2 years, not 3 years, but all the way up to and conveniently until when Biden won the presidency. And even after that, y'all were still bringing it up. But they stopped talking about it as much after Biden won because remember, they had to pretend like they didn't believe that elections could be hacked anymore because they were busy calling everyone who said that Trump got cheated. They were busy calling them traitors and insurrectionists. For her to be like, no, we don't talk about this enough. Yes, y'all did. Y'all talked about it enough. Y'all talked about it more than enough. We don't want to hear about it anymore. But yeah, here we are. Here we are hearing about it again. It's okay to talk about election integrity now. It's okay to admit elections can be fraudulent, but only if Hillary Clinton, the Democrats say it's okay to. Only Democrats get cheated, apparently. And
yes, indeed.
He has intervened in our election in the past.
Right.
It's not something as
she's saying that as if that's a fact. No, that was disproven. Remember Mueller thing, the special counsel situation had years to prove that it was true. Turned out that it wasn't, and even Andrew McCabe got fired because they found out that y'all were basically trying to quote unquote cook the books by using your connections with people like Andrew McCabe, deputy director of the FBI, who made up the entire thing. Y'all remember that? I do, because I was there for it. I covered it pretty often, actually. It wasn't, that's a lie. Like, you're saying that we know he interfered with the 20. He did not. That is a lie. You know who interfered with the 2016 election? Hillary Clinton. You know how we know? Because the Democratic Party admitted that they cheated. They cheated to get Hillary Clinton to be the primary candidate. These are the facts.
As you experienced firsthand, it's not something we talk about a lot. Do you fear that that is something that could be happening for 2024? And do you think we should be talking about it more?
Well, I think we should be talking about it more because I don't think, despite all of the, deniers, there's any doubt that he interfered.
She said, despite all the deniers, you mean despite the report from the special counsel that said it didn't happen? You mean despite that? What you mean deniers? Basically what she's saying, despite all those facts out there, clearly, revealing that nothing happened, anything close to that. Nothing close to that happened. No rigging whatsoever in favor of Trump against Hillary Clinton on behalf of Russia. Like, that didn't happen in spite of all of those facts that we can easily research. No, it ain't deniers, bro. It's just the people that don't believe bullshit. I mean, that's I hate this woman so much, y'all. Oh.
In our election, or that he has interfered in many ways in the internal affairs of other countries, funding political parties, funding, political candidates, buying off, government officials. And
you mean like what Hillary Clinton did in Honduras while she was the Secretary of State? Or what Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and basically every Democrat did in Ukraine? Or what Hillary Clinton did to Gaddafi while Secretary of State in 2011? Is she serious? She was like, I just think that he goes around interfering with the internal affairs of other countries. Like, I just couldn't imagine why, like, who would do such a thing? we should hold him accountable because that guy interferes with other people's elections. And I'm saying that not as a projection so that you don't look at all the elections that I've interfered in. I'm saying it because it's 100% true. What? No one, bro, if anyone believes that shit, why didn't she should have listed something, right? Like when she says it, listen, like
funding, political candidates, buying off,
for example,
government officials in different places. So that is his opus, his opus operandi in the sense that he hates democracy.
She could not give a single example. Did you notice that? If you ask the average American, yeah, can you think of any situations where we interfere with other countries' internal affairs? Bro, they might be able to list 3 or 4. Like the average might list 2 or 3. A person who's well educated on the history of U.S. imperialism might be able to give you 4 or 5 off bat. It's off the rip. Honduras, Venezuela, Cuba, Libya, Nigeria recently, Yemen, Syria, Iran, Afghanistan. And that's just like without me even thinking about it. Guatemala, Chile, Bolivia. Give me a single example of Russia doing the same thing in another country. Can anybody give me one? Under Putin? Give me an example, a single example. They don't exist. Under Putin, there's been no attempt to overthrow any government in Africa, in the Middle East, or in Central South America. Not a single attempt. That's why she can't give you any example, because the examples don't exist, and she's a fucking liar. And I can't stand that shit, bro. I can't stand how this woman can get. How can it, bro? I mean, the country's run by sociopaths. Like, and I know she's not running anything anymore, but at the same time, she's still a sociopath. And I just can't believe that Jen Psaki trying to pass herself off as a fucking journalist is lobbing her these questions and letting her just lie, knowing that another superpower, the leader of another superpower, knowing that a nuclear war literally hangs in the balance, if we're being honest. A nuclear war is hanging in the balance right now. And you're just going to let her get up in front of this goddamn camera and lie her ass off, bro? Come on.
Particularly hates the West, and he especially hates us. And he has determined that he can do 2 things simultaneously. He can try to continue to damage and divide us internally, and he's quite good at it. And sadly, he has a lot of apologists and enablers in our own country, people who either don't see the danger or dismiss it out of hand, or maybe agree with some of the positions he's taken on certain things, including his barbaric invasion of Ukraine. And so dividing us and then trying to seize territory in such a brutal way to try to expand his reach, to try to restore the Russian Empire, if not the former Soviet Union, that is who he is. I said that for years. Part of the reason he worked so hard against me is because he didn't think that he wanted me in the White House. So we are where we are. And part of the challenge is to continue to explain to the American public that, the kind of leader Putin is, this authoritarian dictator.
Literally not authoritarian and literally not a dictator. They have a legislature, bro. He has an election. If he was authoritarian, let's be honest, Hillary and the US government would probably be fond of him. I can't believe we're having a conversation about whether or not Putin is a dictator when we literally have Zelensky telling the US and the West, hey, bro, we're not holding elections. Sorry. Get that shit up. Too expensive. Too expensive. That will cut into, Zelensky's little coke habit. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God.
Who literally kills his opposition, kills journalists, poisons people.
The woman who literally said that she wanted to drone strike Julian Assange is accusing someone else of killing journalists. Are you kidding me, bro? Kills his opposition. Well, listen. Do y'all understand the irony of that shit, bro? Hillary Clinton just she basically went and accused Putin of doing everything that she is either accused of doing or has already been confirmed of doing. Killing opposition. I ain't never heard no Putin body count. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they did it. I'm not saying they didn't do it. All I'm saying is, all Niko is saying is, I've never once heard of a Putin body count outside of neoliberal media claiming that this happened. But everybody know about that Clinton body count. You ask, I'd be on, on PlayStation talking to random people in a random chat room. I'm like, hey, y'all know about that Clinton body count? Whoa, man, you talking about man, everybody know about Clinton body count, bro. You think that's real? Everybody knows about Clinton body count. Not a single person heard about Putin body count. The media makes it sound as if that's the case, but that's never the case. So, yeah, man. So I had to listen to that, and I had to suffer through that. So I felt like it was only appropriate that you guys suffer through it too. I appreciate you guys. So here's actually why I believe Clinton's been on this little tour lately. Believe it or not, I don't think it's about Hillary Clinton herself. Good God, if she tried to replace Biden. But no, I don't think that's what it is. Is this. Among voters under age 35, Trump leads Biden in new post ABC poll by 20 points. Yeah, that's what it is. Personally, that's what I think it is. Post ABC poll, Biden faces criticism on economy, immigration, and age. First of all, stop saying it's about his age. Are they really gonna do me like that? That's crazy. You know what? Screw them. I'm not about to deal with y'all. But here's what I will pull up. But yeah, so Biden's polling has been abysmal, like we've been talking about. That poll has him losing by 20 points among some demographics. There's another poll that had him losing by 10 points. Now, these aren't like Republican polls, like, because that's what they used to say. Oh, you can't trust those polls. They're Republican. I'm going to find this video real quick for y'all, where even like the mainstream liberals had to be like, yo, this shit ain't looking right, bro. It's not looking good for you, boy. Mm-mm. There we go. Y'all want to watch this? This is hilarious.
Question of job approval, barely 40% approve of Joe Biden's performance.
And we have to note 56%. That's the highest disapproval rating for President Biden since he took office. That's significant.
Yeah, so let's take a look at what's driving that too here. In one big area, no surprise, it is the economy. Look at this contrast. This is April of 21, months after Biden took office. Nearly half the country was satisfied with where the economy was then. Now, barely 1 in 4 Americans satisfied with the economy. There's also this. We found an enthusiasm gap between the two parties. We ask folks on a scale of 1 to 10, how enthusiastic are you about the presidential election? And you can see Republican to Democrat, there is a gap right there. Where's the lag for Democrats? We found a couple places. Non-white voters, you can see significantly less enthusiastic than white voters. And then how about this age gap? The youngest group of voters who Democrats have been trying to get excited and motivated, 50 points.
You're telling me guys like Harry Sisson can't get young voters excited about Joe Biden?
Nearly 50-point gap there.
So really an uphill battle to try to make sure voters don't stay home if you're Democrats.
Yeah, that's it. And the problem for Democrats, too, the lack of enthusiasm.
That was a weird conclusion. I thought the conclusion would be you're trying to make sure voters don't go vote for Trump. Because if Trump is beating him in the polls, you need to make sure they're not going to vote for Trump or vote for Cornel West. I don't know how she got the conclusion you're trying to make sure voters don't stay home. Like, but hey, this is why, in my opinion, this is why they're already starting with the narrative of what? Oh man, Putin's interfering with the election. Putin's already interfering. How the hell? How is he interfering? Once again, this is what pissed me off about the Psaki Clinton interview, was because if you're going to make an allegation that the president of another major superpower, an adversarial superpower, is interfering with an election, you don't think it's the journalist's responsibility to say, how are they doing this? Just give one example, please. They can never give an example because he isn't interfering. But it's the journalist's job to at least just say, hey, how is that happening? But they don't. And why is that? Because they're not really fucking journalists. And also because they know the answer. He isn't interfering. But the truth of the matter is, Joe Biden is trash as a candidate. The Democrats know he's trash as a candidate. They also know that in reality, because they keep talking about, yeah, any candidate can beat Trump. That's not true. Like, I don't care if you do like Trump or dislike Trump. That is irrelevant to the fact. And the fact of the matter is, you cannot just throw any candidate up against Trump and expect to beat a man who can release his mugshot and then go up in the polls. It doesn't work like that. You can't just beat a man who set records in getting votes for an incumbent. Now, he lost, allegedly, but like, that in and of itself lets you know that you can't just put anybody up against them. Right? That's common sense. So if you are going to stick with Biden, or if you are going to put someone up against him that probably isn't going to win, you got to have that baked in excuse. You got to have that excuse ready to go. We all know what that excuse is, right? Oh no, Putin interfered. But if but if Trump supporters say that the election was rigged against Trump, they're insurrectionists. It's treason. But if Democrats and Hillary say that the election was rigged against them, and you don't agree, then you're a Putin puppet. Please make that make sense. People, I don't understand it. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. You have to bake in these excuses now. And we can go into the details of all the, like, I know how Democrats rig elections. Trust me, y'all know if anybody, and that's a different show for a different time. But they have the apparatus to get the desired outcome, the Democrats. They have the apparatus, except for they do not have the coalition that they once had. They're pissing off Democrats. Like I said, there's a vacuum of power that has been created, and they don't know how to fill it. And to be honest, once Trump is out of the picture, more or less, they have no boogie. They don't even have another boogeyman to go after. Trump might have been the best thing that happened to them, outside of the neo-progressives who just do whatever the fuck the Democrats tell them to do and choose not to fight back or hold them accountable. Outside of those douchebags, Trump might be the best thing that ever happened to the Democrats. But after that, there is no more Hillarys, right? There are no more Joe Bidens. There are no more Obamas. People keep saying Michelle. Michelle ain't said shit about running, and I doubt she will. I don't think she wants to come under that type of scrutiny. Who they gonna run, AOC? Good luck. Nobody likes her. Liberals don't like her anymore. Progressives don't like her anymore. Outside of the sycophants that she vents to on IG Live, no one takes her seriously. So they don't have anybody else, and they need that built-in excuse. And that's why I think Hillary Clinton has been on this tour of Putin is already rigging the election. They're already planting the seeds. That's just my 2 cents. Make sure y'all like this video. Make sure y'all share this video. Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment. Much appreciated. Make sure if y'all want to support, you can go to Rockfin, become a premium member. The link's in the description. You can go to Patreon, become a patron. The link is in the description, plus all the other links as well. Don't forget to subscribe if this is your first time here. Yeah. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Other than that, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.